My name's Vicki Porter. I'm from Lake Mills, Wisconsin. I'm 51 years old. I started smoking cigarettes in college. You know what? I even remember the evening I started smoking. I'd just gotten dressed to go out, and I was listening to jazz records, drinking Irish coffee. I spotted a pack of Benson & Hedges ultralights that a friend had left behind in my dorm room. So feeling invincible, I took out one of those cigarettes and I lit it. Because what goes better with whiskey and jazz, right, than a cigarette? In just a few weeks, I was addicted to cigarettes and began a lifestyle of smoking that lasted for 23 years. After a few years of this smoking lifestyle, I realized it's not cool. It was revolting and embarrassing and deadly. But quitting smoking is very, very, very hard. Nobody tells you that. Over the years, I tried to quit many times. Using many techniques. I tried cold turkey, nicotine gum, nicotine patches, all approved by the FDA. I tried 2 FDA-approved drugs, even tried one of those drugs twice. I tried hypnosis twice. I tried some hocus pocus called laser acupuncture. All failures. By now, I was around 40 years old, and I figured I just learned to live, to be content, to die a smoker, probably gasping for air like my grandmother and mother did when they died of lung cancer. Years ago now, a coworker of mine showed me an online ad for e-cigarettes. The promise was smoking without the harm or smell. So I ordered one because I thought, what if it's real? What if it's real? And as it turns out, it's actually real. Around 2010, I stopped smoking only because of e-cigarettes. It literally changed and probably saved my life. 9 years later, my doctor says my lungs are healthy. I can climb stairs without being winded. I exercise 4 times a week. I can walk for miles and miles. I can do things now I haven't done since before my lungs became overwhelmed with the filth and deadly toxicity of cigarettes. Vaping is a health miracle to me, because without it, I'd probably be on my way to a lung cancer diagnosis. 2 main reasons why e-cigarettes work. First, the inhalation of a far less harmful, not safe, but less harmful nicotine dose similar to smoking, without the deadly toxins caused by burning tobacco. And second, and this is critically important, flavors. Flavors matter to me, an adult ex-smoker. Flavors are not an industry-driven innovation, they are a user-driven innovation. Big Tobacco didn't come up with the idea of flavors. Consumers, adult smokers like me, came up with the idea of flavors. We demanded it. The tobacco flavors that everybody seems to think are so wonderful of the early e-cigarettes were awful. Those flavors mimic the taste of a cigarette and were poor imitations of the cigarettes we actually like to smoke. We don't want our vapor to taste like cigarettes. We're trying to quit them. We want something that tastes good, that makes us want to keep vaping. Flavors keep us vaping. Flavors keep us not smoking. I took a survey on my Facebook page of ex-smokers turned vapors. About 150 people left comments, and I admit this is not scientific, but at last count, approximately 90% use flavors other than tobacco. These are middle-aged and older ex-smokers. These flavors are demanded by adults, sold by adults, consumed by adults. And we're not alone. According to a recent survey of more than 69,000 vapors, 92% preferred non-tobacco flavors. Now, much has been made of the lung illnesses tied to vaping, but it's manifestly dishonest to blame e-cigarettes and nicotine liquid for these illnesses. All available information overwhelmingly suggests the lung diseases being diagnosed have exactly nothing to do with nicotine vapor products and everything to do with adulterated street drugs or products, notably oil-based THC. I've now been vaping for 9 years, and I've never been healthier. And none of the nicotine vapor products that I use contain oil. E-cigarettes are a public health miracle that America is about to squander based on misinformation and disinformation. So let me remind the committee members of a few points. The FDA and local agencies, communities, and parents absolutely need to do a better job of enforcing existing laws and obligations to see to it that kids don't use e-cigarettes. But you don't need to ban the product to make progress on that mission. In 2018, the UK's Royal College of Physicians published a comprehensive scientific report which concluded that vaping nicotine can eliminate almost all the harm from smoking cigarettes, and recommended promoting the use of e-cigarettes to smokers as widely as possible. The report also indicated that vaping nicotine is at least 95% less harmful than smoking. Public Health England concurs. Even the American Cancer Society is beginning to understand the promise of tobacco harm reduction, stating that e-cigarettes are, quote, likely to be significantly less harmful for adults than smoking regular cigarettes, and they encourage adults who have failed other FDA-approved methods to switch to e-cigarettes. E-cigarettes were the only thing that worked for me to quit smoking. This product probably saved my life. Vaping has helped more than 8 million adult smokers quit completely when all other options failed for them. I think that's incredible. 8 million people quit smoking. On behalf of former smokers, I hope you'll reject the general war on vaping, and I encourage you to proceed with these comments in mind. Thank you very much for your consideration.
So there's not very much more you can say apart from that video. She says it all there. I just want to tell you a little bit of my personal story to do with vaping and the smoking world. I'm 40 years old now. Now, I was a 28-year-old man. I only got young kids. My mum got rushed into hospital. Now, she had really lots of problems with the breathing. Now, the only thing this was to do was smoking. She's been smoking since you were probably 6 or 7. Because that's what you did in them days. And it was all to do with smoking. So I'd been away with Louise and the children, and Mark phoned me up and said, look, you've got to get back. Mum's not very well. She's in intensive care. So I jump on the train, get back. Mark picks me up and we go to the hospital. And I just missed her. They'd actually put her into a coma because she couldn't breathe. I just missed her. I only spoke to her in the morning, but it's one of the last things in my head. That one last telephone call, really, of my mum being proper, is the only thing I've got left. So we'd gone in, went into the intensive care unit, and they'd already done a tracheotomy. Now, if you've never seen a tracheotomy before, it's not a very nice thing. Your mum, your everything, the person who brought you up, everything that means something to you, is sat there, laid in a bed. She wasn't a little lady, but she was hard as out. She got a hole in her throat. They'd actually cut a hole in her throat and they put a tube in there. Something that's instilled in my brain. So they said, come back tomorrow. I've gone back home, I'm on my own. I don't feel very good, obviously. So we go back the next day. Now, me and Mark, you can only have 2 people in at a time. My sister was there, my dad was there, and me and Mark went in together. My mum's laid on this bed. Just below her was a big tub, and it was full of black. It's everything that they took out of her lungs. This black gunk. That's all you can say, it's black gunk. And me and Mark walk into this, into the unit, and we look at my mum. She's got this hole in her throat. And she's starting to gasp. And she gasped like a frog. She looked like a frog. And she couldn't get her breath. This thing is instilled in my brain till the day I die. My poor mum sat down there gasping for air. And you know what I'm like? I was looking at the lady like I could have strangled the other ladies. And she couldn't do anything. She couldn't do anything. My mum's sedated. She's actually in a coma. But she's still gasping for air. And that's to do with smoking. Speak to the doctors, she told her exactly the same. It's what she smoked all the years, her lungs and everything had been scarred and everything were full of that black gunk. And it's something that sticks in your head, and it will do my brother as well. That memory will never leave us. So, there is something that comes out of this that you could do in any good, shall we say. Unfortunately, my mum passed away, but my dad, he's 80 years old, and it was his birthday last week. If my dad hadn't have made that decision there and then that he was not going to smoke anymore, I would not have my dad, or Mark, or Sally would not have their dad. All the kids wouldn't have their granddad. My dad made the decision to, he had a Nautilus 5mm tank as well. I think it started off on an Inikin, something like that. You know, the one you could charge your phone up on, but you couldn't vape. Then we got him onto the Cool Fire 4s. Still with the same tank. He's got 3 of these tanks. I still order him the same coils. And he had a mixture. And he had a mixture of Energy Cow. He liked the sweetness of this Energy Cow, which was his flavour. And then he mixed it with a little bit of US Red, which was like a tobacco flavour. But he mixed it with it. But he still liked the flavour of the Energy Cow. And that stopped him from smoking. He never had a cigarette afterwards. Never. Never touched it. He's been vaping the same thing all the time. Now, at that point, you could get 34 milligram. When it came down to 20, he started mixing his own. And he's very happy. Now, this man, I would not have. My kids wouldn't have their granddad anymore unless he could vape the flavours and what he wanted. Now, our brothers and sisters in the US are going through this. A massive flavour ban. For what? For them, because they're not making their money from tobacco. That's the biggest thing there. It's nothing to do with health. They're not bothered. The US are not bothered. Other countries are not bothered. They're all to do with this. Money, money, money. And it's nothing to do with our health. Well, I send a big love out to all the people who are going through this trouble, especially in the US at the minute. Our brothers and sisters, we will stand by you. If there's anything that we can do as the UK public, we need to sit down there and do it. It's bad. Well, I just wanted to show you my little bit of a story, and I wanted to send my love and my support over the pond and to other countries that are going through this. Vaping is 95% safer than smoking. Vaping has a lot better success rate to stop people smoking than patches, gum, sprays or anything else. And until we all wake up and see that these governments are only out there for the money that they can make, and we should stand up as a world and show these people that we need to stop them from smoking. It kills people. Well, people, there's only one last thing to say. Keep them juices flowing.